I'm here today in the heart of Speyside and I'm going to be taking you around GlenAllachie Distillery. Founded in the mid-60s, this distillery has such an incredible history, but for most of its life, it's acted as a workhorse, a distillery that would pump out vast amounts of liquid that would all end up in blended whiskies. However, in 2017, a consortium led by Billy Walker bought out the distillery and they are now pumping out single malt Scotch for exactly that purpose. They have an incredible core range here. They're doing some really interesting bits and pieces, and I cannot wait to get inside and find out more. So, without further ado, let's get involved at GlenAllachie. So we're here inside the GlenAllachie Distillery and I'm with the brand home manager, Juliette. Juliette, thank you so much for taking your time to give us this wonderful tour. Tell us a little bit about what's going on here at the GlenAllachie. I know we're at the mash tun. You know, there's obviously a lot more going on in the whiskey making process before we get here. But what's happening at the GlenAllachie here? What's different?
What's different? Well, a lot of things are different. Every distillery does the same process. But every distillery will tweak and do things slightly differently. So at the end, you've got a different picture.
Absolutely.
Like a big puzzle. So at GlenAllachie, one of the big changes we've made since we took over from Pernod Ricard is slowing down the process and reducing the quantity.
Right.
We're no longer rushing and trying to produce as much as we can. We're trying to produce as best as we can.
Wow, fantastic. I love to hear that. It's something for me, I always think quality over quantity, right? I mean, we're stood in front of this mash tun. How big is this? This is massive.
It is massive. It's a 9.4 ton.
9.4 tons,
and
wow.
it's 6 meters diameter.
Wow.
So you can get into it. When you go and wash it, you actually get into it with your brush and your hose. So yeah, it is big. So this one is not the original one. It's been changed in the 80s, I believe.
Right.
Stainless steel, but yeah, 9.4 is what we use, and we do 1 mash a day. So
Okay.
5 mashes a week, which again is just 1 mash a day compared to maybe 2 or 3 previously.
I was going to say, so if you look at where you were, you really have scaled back. I believe I was reading you're at a capacity of about 4 million litres. But speaking with yourself and Billy and the rest of the team, you're not even reaching 1 million litres most years. Is that correct?
It is right. I think this year we're around 800,000.
Wow,
so
okay.
not even 25% of the capacity. So if you want to drink more GlenAllachie, we'll make more GlenAllachie, you know, fear not. But we've got, yeah, we're taking our time. We've changed direction. The distillery is no longer here to produce malt for the blend industry. We're here to produce malt for our own needs.
Yes.
So for our own single malt, either GlenAllachie unpeated or Mikultor peated. We do a tiny bit of blend. We do a tiny bit of blended malt as well. But the focus is on single malt GlenAllachie unpeated.
Fantastic. And out of interest, scaling it down, have you found any difficulties in being able to provide yourself with that liquid that you need? Or are you taking your time and it's all going quite smoothly?
I believe it's going smoothly. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
No, we were fortunate to buy stock.
Yes.
So again, that's the reason we don't need to rush. We bought mature stock from Pernod Ricard, from Chivas, and we're working with that at the moment while we do our own new spirit and leave it to mature in our own warehouses. So we've got time, which is lovely.
Whiskey is a patient person's game,
Yes.
isn't it? We've got to take our time. Fantastic. Well, let's move on and let's see what's next in the whiskey making process after we're here at the mash tun.
Well, let's go into the fermentation room.
You've got 6 beautiful washbacks here. You're telling me they're about 50,000 litres in size.
Yeah, they are big. They go all the way down. So what you see is
just
not even half of it.
Small portion, absolutely.
So 50,000 capacity, but we'll put 42,500 liters of wort.
Okay.
So we've got the sugar, we add the yeast through one of these pipes, we add 250 liters of liquid yeast.
Okay.
And then that's where the magic starts happening. That's where we start developing alcohol. Because that's
absolutely.
That's
why we're here,
about.
right? Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got sugar in the previous stage, now we need alcohol. Put the yeast, after 3-4 days, you've got about 9% alcohol. We extend the fermentation.
You've got a pretty long fermentation
flavors.
here.
We've got about 163 hours. That's a full week. So
that's significant.
It is.
And what is it that you're looking to get from that extended fermentation? Because like you say, the yeast comes in, the alcohol is created quite early. So what are we getting from that extended fermentation?
A more complex, a richer wash.
Okay.
More ester flavors. So you just let it do its work, and the yeast will still produce ester flavors in the last few days.
For those of you at home who are wondering, esters are those lovely, rich, fruity flavors that you're going to get. So really complex wash that you're getting here, and then that goes along to the stills.
And again, it shows you we're talking about slowing everything down.
Yes.
That is one of the biggest change, to take a whole week to actually ferment and develop flavor at this stage.
Okay.
You can only see 6 washbacks here, but we actually have another 2 in a different room. We don't really need them because we only need 5 washback.
Okay.
1 mash a week.
Yep.
A week fermentation, 5 washbacks. But we've got, again, capacity to do more in the other room.
So if pushed to it, you do have that capacity. Fantastic. Okay. And again, just looking at this equipment, we're looking stainless steel, not pine. So what's the thought process here? Obviously, it's still very much that sort of workhorse distillery base. Is there any want to change it to Oregon pine?
No, we bought it with stainless steel. We inherited this. It works really well for us, and that's why we can actually make long fermentation.
Right.
If it was wood, pine, or larch, at some distilleries, you would have too much bacteria. I don't think we would be able to do a week fermentation in a wooden.
Fascinating.
Washback.
Okay, so it's all fitting into Billy's plan.
No.
Okay, definitely. So long fermentations.
We work with what we've got.
Yes.
It's a really efficient distillery. That's what Billy bought. We finesse it.
Yep.
We've changed a few things, but we're not going to replace what's not broken.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Absolutely. And this is the beautiful thing. The fact that you are playing around with such longer fermentation times, like you say, perhaps it wouldn't work if it were wood washback. So maybe Billy did it with such intention in the first place, right? Fascinating stuff. Really, really beautiful.
So let's have a look, because quite interesting here, you've got the wash or the wort at this stage of today. So it's just being charged. We haven't added the yeast yet, so you can see it's very benign.
Yep.
It's just, and you can smell it.
You can
don't
indeed.
have the alcohol yet. You don't have, it's barley water really at this stage, nice and sweet.
Yes.
The one we did yesterday will be here.
That must be charging away now.
So now the yeast is really trying or starting to do their job, eating the sugar away, producing alcohol, producing carbon dioxide.
Yep.
They're having the life of the time of their life here.
Yes.
Having a big party, as you can see. So I can't open this one because
I wouldn't want you to. It all splash around, right? Absolutely. You can see that it's really active.
But it's quite good to see. And then the day before, again, the yeast is still producing alcohol, but
settle down a little bit.
Much slower.
Okay.
So I'll open this one if I can. Set to show you. Obviously, be mindful of the carbon dioxide.
Wow!
Already,
look at that.
See.
You really smell the difference, don't you? It's incredible. And that has calmed down an awful lot more. So it's incredible to see the change that a day makes.
It's just lovely the way it goes, actually. Yeah, it's like a picture, a moving picture.
Absolutely.
So at this stage, obviously we're halfway, not even halfway to the production. We've produced a beer, 9.5 ABV.
Yep.
Not quite enough for Scotland.
No.
It's okay in Belgium, it's okay in Germany, but here we need something for the winter days.
Absolutely.
So that's where we'll go and distill double distillation
Fantastic.
to make a stronger product.
Let's move on to the still house then. We are now here in the still house, and wow, I mean, the heat coming off of these stills is amazing. It's so wonderful to be in the soul of the distillery in my mind, you know. You were telling me something really interesting about your condensers though. Tell everyone at home, what's different about these condensers?
Yeah, well, we've got horizontal condensers, which is quite unusual. There's a few distilleries, but not many.
Okay.
And this is because the designer, William Delmay Evans, in 1967 wanted to have something which was quite energy efficient.
Okay.
So rather than use pumps to take the liquid up and down, it just put them horizontal and the liquid just flows. So most of the distillery was built to be gravity fed.
Okay.
He was ahead of his time.
For sure, definitely. I mean, this is the thing, built in the 60s. On the outset, you'd expect it to be very industrial and maybe not have as much heart as it has. It really has some interesting characteristics. But still, shell and tube condensers, it's just on its side, gravity fed.
Yeah, and it makes sense, to be fair.
Absolutely, it definitely does. And tell us, what's going on here with your stills, with your distillate? What is it that you're trying to achieve here? Is there a lot of reflux going on?
Yeah, you can see, I mean, you've got the bulb here. We're trying a bit of reflux, but they're not very tall either. We still want a complex, a rich distillate, a rich new spirit. So we don't have them too tall. But we're trying to achieve the best we can, really. Again, compared to previous owners, we've slowed everything down.
Okay.
It takes about half an hour longer than previously.
Okay.
To have a bit more of this contact with copper. And also because we only distill 5 days a week, the still will have time to rest at the weekend. They will have time to rest at night.
Yes, definitely.
And a good night's sleep does wonders.
I love hearing that. And you know what? I think there's something to be said for giving your equipment time to rest.
Yes.
If you or I were to eat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we would burn out.
Yes.
And I think that stills are exactly the same. So I love that you said that for everyone at home. I don't think really it's appreciated when these distilleries are working non-stop, how tired they must get. Let's go up to the spirit safes here and talk a little bit more about the cuts.
You can actually notice before we go up, you know, we've got 2 spirit safes.
Well, that's what's taking my interest immediately, yeah. Why is that?
Because when it was built, initially it was for 3 million litres of pure alcohol, and it would have been just one side being built, and 6 months later, we did the other side. Well, I wasn't there. But we can run them separately if we wanted to.
Okay.
Still number 1, or wash still number 1, and spirit still number 1, watch still number 2, spirit still number 2. Will then end up in 2 separate spirit safes, and in 2 separate low wine and faint receivers.
So in theory, if you wanted to, you could do your peated Mickle Tour on one side and your normal GlenAllachie unpeated spirit on the other.
Yeah.
Is that something you ever do?
Well, we don't. What we do, we have the 42,500 litres of wash, and we divide, and we will put 21,125 on one side, and the same amount on the other side, and run them simultaneously.
Divide and conquer.
But you are right. In theory, we could split and do 2 things totally different.
Fantastic.
But no, for Mickle Tour, we actually do between 5 and 6 weeks a year. That represents about 10 to 15% of our production.
Yep.
And we'll do that at a set time.
And it makes sense to do that at a certain time. Obviously, we've just come from the washroom. You're probably going to have to clean all of that equipment pretty heavily after having that really heavily peated Mickle Tour in there.
I mean, cleaning is a good, you know, we're good at cleaning. As you can see, everything
is pristine.
Yes.
Again, this is one of the things. You think of one of these distilleries built in the 60s, a workhorse, you've really created something special here, and it feels so much more craft.
Yeah.
Let's go up to the spirit safes, have a little look. So Juliette, we're now up here next to spirit safe number 1. Really, again, just the life and soul of this distillery, I feel, is in this room. Everything is happening. Tell us a little bit about your cut points for the spirit. Where are we at here?
So we'll start cutting, we collect only the heart, as you know. We'll start cutting at 74 ABV.
Okay, so quite high and punchy.
Quite high, yeah. I think the 4 shots are that 45-minute run.
Okay.
So quite short, 74%, and we'll go down to 62.5 for GlenAllachie. Mikultor is slightly different. We go a bit lower for Mikultor to go and get the phenols.
Right, for sure.
So slightly different cuts. But for GlenAllachie in general, it's 74 to 62.5.
Okay.
We'll collect about 5,500 litres of new make out of the 42,500 litres of wort that we had initially. So
fantastic.
It's not a massive cut. We're not greedy. We just want the best.
Absolutely. And once you've got that cut, it must be coming out at what, 68, 69%?
69.4.
69.4?
Approximately.
Okay, yeah, just to this, single digits there. I like it. Okay, cool. And would you be putting that directly into cask at sort of their still strength, or will you always be watering that down?
We do a bit of both.
Okay.
So we do the standard, industry standard at 63.5.
Yep.
But we also experiment with different strengths, so either still strengths or sometimes 68.5, just tiny bit of,
little bit down.
Of water. I think just to see how it will affect the maturation. We are small, we are innovative, we're independent.
You can experiment.
We can do whatever we want.
I like that, fantastic. And at those higher strengths, you must be getting different things out of the cask. So it's definitely worth that experimentation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel the industry standard of 63.5, well, is everyone doing it just because the next man is doing it? Let's get a little bit more creative. I love the fact that you're doing that here, really interesting.
But I think, we're fortunate as well because our owner and master blender is the same person. So the master blender and master distiller can do pretty much what he wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
He knows what he's doing, but he doesn't need permission from
anybody
a board.
Else. Yeah, no, definitely. It helps with creativity. On that side of things, you're obviously creating a peated spirit here now as well for your Mikultor brand, which I have to say is delicious liquid. You weren't seeing any peated spirit coming out of GlenAllachie before Billy and your team took it over, were you? When it was Pernod Ricard, it was entirely unpeated spirit. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, you are correct. I mean, even prior to Pernod Ricard, so since 1968 when we started distilling, or the distillery started operating, till 2018 was unpeated.
Okay.
We started in April 2018.
Fantastic.
To do the first run was in April 2018.
Incredible.
And that's why when we launched it at the end of last year, it was only 5 years old, and we were proud and brave enough to actually put 5 years old on the label.
Definitely, it's lovely to see. And it's interesting as well, the fact that obviously when you're dealing with peated spirit, there is a lot more that goes into, even on this side of things, the cut points, like you say, going that little bit lower, reaching for those phenols and those rich, dirty compounds that you want to keep within the whiskey. Really, really interesting. You were telling me you might have a little bit of new make spirit that we can smell. I mean, it's amazing seeing it come off the stills, but the smell of it must be something else. Talk to us. What sort of strength is this at now at the moment?
So this one was taken out this morning, is 65.1.
65.1.
We'll check at different times of the day, so obviously it will be at different strengths.
Okay.
But 65.1 in this instance. And you see, I mean, the smell is fantastic. The
nose, is incredible.
Yeah. And you see the
rich,
so complex.
It is, yeah, no, it is. There's so much going on in there. And at 65.1, the alcohol is incredibly well integrated already as new make.
So what's quite good to do as well is just to put a bit.
Rub it in your hands.
On your skin. I'll take that away from you.
Thank you.
And it's just fantastic.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So
really lovely.
It's very important to have a really good new make spirit.
Yeah.
The maturation is very important too, but you need to get this right.
Great spirit going into great casks.
Yes.
That's where you're going to get the magic happening, right?
Exactly.
Fantastic. Should we head down to the warehouse then?
Let's go.
Let's do it. So guys, we've come from the still house and we've wandered on down here to the warehouses. On the way, we've passed by some wonderful new casks that are just coming in now, getting ready to be filled. We managed to stick our nose into fresh Oloroso, PX and wine casks. And that's the beautiful thing here at the GlenAllachie, is since Billy Walker has joined, the wealth of different cask types that we are using for maturation. I'm now stood here in warehouse number 2, is it Willie?
There's it.
And I'm standing here with Willie, who is one of the warehouse supervisors. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us.
Pleasure, right?
You're very busy today. You've got a lot of different casks there. It looks like you're about to be filling quite a few different wine casks. How many new make casks are you filling every week here, Willie?
Every week's roughly about 130 casks filled.
Okay.
A new make. There's also a re-rock program happens every day.
Aye.
So you're roughly filling about maybe just about 1,000 casks a week.
You're a busy man then.
Well, the boys keep us busy, that's for sure.
Aye, absolutely. And this is it. I mean, it seems as though Billy Walker really is keeping such a close eye on his spirit. I was speaking with him there yesterday, and he's saying with certain casks, he's monitoring them on a month-by-month basis.
That's
and then
correct.
obviously really just ready to jump on in whenever that time comes in order for re-racks or bottling to come to it. So what's the main sort of re-racking process that's happening here? Is it particularly from one type to another, or is it lots of different things going on?
There's quite a lot of different things going on. It's not just a sherry program. There's the Virgin Oak series, the wine series. You're never sure what Billy's got up his sleeve.
Right.
You open a container door and, well, it's always a surprise, that's for sure.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you were saying before you started working here, I mean, you've been here since day one of the Billy Walker GlenAllachie, 2018, right?
Yeah.
And beforehand, though, you were working at a local cooperage.
Yeah, that's where I kind of started learning some different types of casks, and I started at the bottom.
Right.
And just learn from day one, really.
Fantastic. Well, look, really appreciate you taking some time to have a chat with us here today. Can we have a little look in the filling room?
Oh, no problem. The boys are just setting up for new fills, so you'll see different 2 stages, an STR, which is to replace a bourbon finish.
Okay.
It's a wine cask being scraped and recharred.
So, Willie, we're here in the filling warehouse now, and to our right, we've got some casks being filled. What sort of casks are these now?
This is wine casks, so they've been used once before for like a finishing.
Okay.
So now we're going to be using them for new make, which they'll end their life forever. How long they're laid to rest? 6 years, maybe 7 years.
So a second lease of life, but I'm understanding then that you only use these casks twice. Is that the same for all casks?
Yeah, aye.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've got some wine casks being filled here.
Yep.
So it's the second lease of life for these ones. What are the ones at the back there? You were saying some STR casks?
Yeah, they originally were wine casks. They've been scraped and then recharred for new flavours and a new beginning. So it's like a cask, how would you say, re-advanced.
Right, okay. Bit of a rejuvenation to it.
Yeah. Start again, really. So.
Aye, okay.
Similar to a bourbon start, but hopefully we'll see how things go.
Okay. And you're relatively new with using the STR casks here at GlenAllachie.
Yeah, just in the last year, Billy's just decided to take a flip round and see how things go.
Well, I see what you mean. It must be fascinating to see what Billy's got up his sleeve next,
As I say, you're never sure what he's going to pull out his sleeve, and it could be a good thing, and I've never been disappointed yet, so that's for sure.
Absolutely, fantastic. Well, Willie, look, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Right.
We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
No problem.
So we're just back from the warehouse, and unfortunately we are nearing the end of our tour here at GlenAllachie. Juliette, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to share both spirit and story with us. It's been amazing to see what you guys are doing here at GlenAllachie and everything that's been moving forward since 2017.
Well,
fascinating.
Thank you for coming for a start. It was great to welcome you and to show you what we're doing.
Well, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Now, you said you were going to share a special dram with me. I see you've picked the 10-year-old. Why the 10-year-old?
Two reasons. The first one is an all-time favorite.
Okay.
Because it's very powerful. Yet it's still fresh, and it's very versatile. So we've done it. We've done different batch. This one is batch number 11.
Okay.
In this new branding. So every batch is slightly different, but yet it's always powerful and complex and fresh.
Fantastic.
And the second reason is because actually we've had a busy day and we deserve something a bit punchy.
Fantastic. Okay, you're speaking my language. Let's enjoy.
Let's have a go.
Now, you mentioned there the new branding, which is something that obviously for all of us is very, very fresh. How long were you working on the branding here at GlenAllachie?
You know what? It always takes longer than you think.
Right.
So it took a few years. You get ideas, you develop, you just look back, you improve.
Right.
So it's an ongoing process. But we're there now, we are, and I like it. I really like it. I think it's more established.
Yeah. I was saying earlier, I think it's a wonderful mix between the traditional, what you used to have as your branding, but also a more modern twist on it. It's this really beautiful mixture of the two. And you're right, it is. It's very professional. It's very established. It's a brand that you can definitely trust, right?
Yeah. We've kept the same colours as well. So the 10-year always been green.
Yes.
But now it's a bit greener. It's a bit more obvious.
For sure. No, absolutely. Wonderful pastel-y colours. It really does stand out when you see it on a shelf, which is obviously the main thing. Yeah. We buy whiskies with our eyes, so it's great that it stands out so much. I mean, this... At 59.4%, it just sings from the glass. Yeah. It's such a well-balanced spirit. And again, a really good example of what you're doing here, I feel. Obviously, you've got a great core range. The fact that you're doing 10-year-olds at that cask strength, in batches, like you say, there's consistency there, but equally, each batch must show off something slightly different. Is batch 12 coming soon?
We've been working on it.
Okay.
I can't tell you too much, but I mean, there's always something coming at GlenAllachie, the beauty of it. You can come 3-4 times a year. You will always have something new. Mm-hmm. So Billy keeps us on our toes.
Absolutely.
It's very interesting. So, I mean, there'll be a new batch and we're working on different series, different new oak, sherry, cask and so on.
Okay, fantastic. So lots of exciting things to come. Yeah. And I think more than anything for all of you at home, it just highlights the reason that you need to get down here or up here, depending on where you're based. Come and visit the GlenAllachie, right, Juliette? Because you've got an incredible new bar. It really is such a beautiful space. But you're doing lots of tours. There are tastings going on. There's all sorts of different bits and pieces. I mean, is there anything you can hint at as to what might be coming? Or is it just the fact that there's always something new going on?
There's always something new. I can't. Okay. Yeah, I'm swore to secrecy on this one.
Okay.
But no, it'll be very exciting. And you were talking about the site here. So yeah, we are developing. The bar is a great addition, tasting room. So you don't need to have booked a tour. Even if you have half an hour in between things, you've just been up Ben Rinnes, you can come down here, have a nice dram. It's fantastic.
Well, I have to say, I'm thoroughly enjoying this 10-year-old. It's rich, it's round, it's got those licoricey menthol flavors, dark chocolate, but also really wonderful, light and fruity. Thank you for sharing it with me today.
You're welcome.
And thank you for sharing this wonderful distillery with us. We've had an absolute whale of a time, and we cannot wait to come back again soon.
Well, I'll drink to that then.
Slán. So, we are at the end of our day here at GlenAllachie Distillery, and what a day it has been. It's amazing to see the work that Billy Walker and his team are doing here in order to change the distillery from the workhorse that it was to the craft distillery that it is today, where they are so focused on making sure every drop that leaves these gates is of the absolute highest quality. I've had an amazing time looking around and learning all about this distillery, and I hope you have too. So please join us next time at the Whiskey Baron on our distillery tour episodes. But for now, this has been GlenAllachie.